All work is easy work, apparently, for George Groves, who just stopped Jamie Cox in 4 rounds. This your boy CJ Goodfella back with the Boxing Clinic. And we won 1-0 for the prediction today, 1 for 1. And shout out to George Groves for doing what he's supposed to do. One reason why I gave, Jamie Cox a bit of a chance in this fight was the simple reason that George Groves sometimes is overconfident and overlooks his opponent. And that wasn't the issue tonight. It seems like he's overcome those demons so far and knocked out Jamie Cox straight from the get-go. And he picked Jamie Cox first. He got the first pick. He's the #1 seed WBA champion. And he picked Jamie Cox. He knew what he wanted. He knew he wanted the easy fight. And he said he told the World Boxing Super Series tournament to line up, Chris Eubanks Jr. for the second round. And now he's getting what he wanted. Now, apparently him and, Cox was being aggressive and coming forward. They was landing good shots, and Groves finished him off with a body shot, and he stayed down. Cox proven to have a solid chin, and when you got a guy with a good chin, you go to the body, and usually the body is soft. No matter how ripped hard those abs look and how solid that midsection looks, that really is not indicative of how a guy takes it to the body. I've seen guys with pot bellies and softer middles like Brandon Rios and other guys with stomachs like midsections like that, take body shots all night. So you gotta know your opponent. George Groves was confident, but he wasn't overconfident this fight. He knew he can bang out Jamie Cox. Jamie Cox was a smaller guy coming up from junior middleweight, skipping over middleweight to super middleweight. And Cox had, some encounters with him. He was very familiar with him. He knew exactly what he wanted, exactly how Cox was going to fight. And then, he had too much firepower, too much skill, too much speed, too much size, too much power. Jamie Cox is just not a super middleweight, man. Groves got a few inches on him. They both say that Groves is like 5.5 and Cox is 5'11". Obviously, that's a lot. I think Jamie Cox is closer to like 5'9". He really got the height of probably like a solid junior middleweight or a really good welterweight. But, he tried. I mean, that was my #1 thing about this. I know George Groves overlooks opponents, but my #1 thing about Jamie Cox was the reason why I sided with Groves is the simple fact that Jamie Cox had fought nobody on the upper echelon level, nobody on the mid level, and nobody on the elite level. He was on the lower tier fighters. And when you step over the mid-level and the contenders and all that, and you go straight for a champion like George Groves, who's been in there with the best, now you see it's levels to this shit. You see the difference. From fighting regular domestic guys over in the UK, then you stepping up to the UK elite. He never really even have a chance in this fight, the way he fought. He didn't make any adjustments. He tried to go straight for George Groves and try to bang him out. And Groves, no, he was the superior fighter, and that's what happened. And now let's move on to Eubanks Jr. and George Groves, one of the biggest fights coming up. I think the next year is going to be next year. A big fight, and everybody looking forward to it. I wouldn't sell George Groves short. It seemed like he got it together. Confidence level was right, and that's going to be a hell of a fight. That's going to be one of the better fights in the first quarter or the first half of 2018, man. Groves and Eubanks Jr., we on to the next. Good night, Jamie Cox. We out.